Wine was in her room, getting ready to meet her boyfriend, or ex boyfriend. She didn't know how to mention him anymore. It was always the happiest time, getting ready to meet him. She never knew she'd be crying with a broken heart, sitting in front of a mirror when they both were going to meet. Wine and Jungkook had been in a relationship for the past whole year. It might have been not a huge time, but their chemistry was strong. No one could ever understand how close and in love they were with each other. But their parents didn't approve of their relationship. Vine's mother blackmailed to take her own life, and Jungkook's father threatened to disown him from the property. Whereas Jungkook didn't care about inheritance, but they couldn't let Vine's mother die. She was so damned on it. Once she cut her wrist and ended up in a hospital. Why? Just because their parents had a fight amongst each other when they were young. Because they had become rivals, but none of it was Jungkook's and Vine's fault. Sometimes your parents' sin weighs down on your shoulders and becomes a reason to ruin your happiness. She wanted to meet him one last time. She begged her father to let her meet him only once with an excuse to return him the necklace, which was worth $1 million, and she couldn't just throw it away. But it was only an excuse. The real reason was to actually meet him. Flashback. Jungkook was holding Hwayan in his arms, bridal style, as he brought her back to his room. The two went for outing at her favorite places. Hwayan, see? I told you, grocery shopping is fun. No, he replied, and she grinned knowing he was playing hard to get. See, what a beautiful sight it was for me, getting to see you handling the trolley and then putting all those bags in the car. Ah, such a husband material. Jungkook smiled while she was busy daydreaming. She was right. All those things were usually done by maids or guards. But if that's what made her happy, he could take the risk. Jungkook, you're lucky. None of our enemy saw that. Ryan, why? Does that change your power or your authority? Jungkook looked at her with a soft gaze and kissed her once. Jungkook, you're precious, my love. He put her down on his bed and knelt down before her. Putting her foot on his knee, he removed her shoes with care and gentleness. He did the same with the other one too and helped her change up. Jungkook, I have something for you. He brought a box from the closet and took a seat behind her. It was a necklace which he wore on her with his own hands, leaving a few kisses on the nape of her neck before back hugging her. Jungkook, it's a sign of my love to you. Never take it off, not until I make you wear a ring of my name. Vine admired the necklace and snuggled back in his embrace. Vine, our parents will agree, I'm sure, and then we will finally have rings of each other's names. But the necklace is quite pretty too. Jungkook, where is my return gift? He pushed her down on bed and she gasped. Winking, he started to kiss her. It tickled how his fingers grazed against her skin. She laughed in between the kiss and he pulled away and started to tickle her more. earning a whole set of laughter. Jungkook, my precious love, I'm never letting you go. She got down the car upon reaching the destination. Dad, that's the last one, Ryan. Remember it. She nodded with a strong heart, and her eyes fell on Jungkook standing on the opposite side in front of his own car. He looked composed like he always did to a random eye, but she knew him better. The dark circles and eye bags were too evident, the red veins reflecting his eyes, and overall he looked like a mess, as if he had not slept for days and drowned himself in work and alcohol. What did they do to deserve this? It took her a lot of effort to go near him, and even more effort to utter a word. She was responsible for this state. Ryan, you came. Jungkook, you called, my love. Just hearing his voice was enough to break her heart all over again, and her eyes teared up. Ryan, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Jungkook, no, it's not your fault. You're going through the same. I just couldn't protect you. Ryan, they think you're going to hurt me just because our families are rivals, and you are using me. Ryan, look at me. It killed him how she was standing so close to him, but he couldn't touch her. Her father was glaring at him. Even though he didn't look at him once, he could still feel it. Jungkook, nothing is your fault. I don't want you to live with that blame, which is not yours to take. If he was not already standing on the edge of the cliff, it was the necklace in her hand that almost killed him on the sight. The way she slowly extended it towards him to return it took his soul out of his body. Ryan, I wanted to keep it with me forever, but that was the only way I could meet you. She cried, never meeting his eyes, and he took the necklace from her hand. It took all of his power to utter a word or move. Never in his life he felt this powerless. He held the authority in the world that even the government could fear him. But this one girl had enough power to bring him to his knees. She took the risk, stepped in, and kissed his cheek before turning to leave. It was when his sense returned to his body. It was when he yelled, pulling her behind him in a matter of a second. The sound of bullets pierced through the area, putting everyone high on alert. It was a sudden event that happened within a blink of an eye, too quick for Wine to comprehend. But when the sound of another bullet was heard, she realized it was Jungkook who had pulled her behind himself to take the shots that were originally meant to kill her. Wine! Her father shouted, rushing her way, providing her cover, while their guards circled around them. Wine panicked and fell down beside Jungkook, who slowly fell on the ground with blood filling his once white shirt. No, Jungkook, why? Jungkook, she cried, shaking him heavily. Take him to hospital. She was dragged away by her father, and Jungkook's guards proceeded to put him in the car. She was crying heavily. Her body had started to shake. It was a scene she has never witnessed in her life before. She was always kept away from danger and violence. When Ryan's father reached his car, he realized how desperately she was looking towards Jungkook's car. His grip around her waist loosened up slowly, and he eventually let go. Dad, go. Go with him. She didn't waste a second before getting in the car where Jungkook was. Putting his head on her lap, she held him tightly. There was a guard who stayed on his knees, putting pressure on his wounds to stop the bleeding. Why? Jungkook, please, why? Why did you do this? Jungkook, hey, it's okay, don't cry. Wine, I'll never forgive you if you dare leave me alone here. She rested her forehead against his, kissing him all over his features. She cried even more when he slowly fell unconscious. Every passing second was like a torture to her poor heart. Soon they reached the hospital and Jungkook was taken to the ICU to get treated. Her father stayed beside her the whole time he was getting operated. Dad, he's a strong man, Ryan. It's not the first time he was shot. He will be fine. Ryan, if if something happens to him, Dad, I'll die. I can't take this. Dad, you can't die just yet. I still have to see both of your kids. Ryan, what do you mean? Dad, I'll find out who shot him. But it's obvious he was there to kill you. To either take revenge on me or him. Your mother and I was worried Jungkook was using you to take revenge on us. Dad, but he risked his life to save you, whereas he could just leave you to die and his purpose would fulfill. You can keep him. His love for you is real, and I'm not going to put you two in any more pain. She hugged her father and cried out, praying for his safety. Soon enough, Jungkook's parents arrived too. They heard everything that happened and how their son took a bullet to save the girl they were trying to keep him away from. They realized how Jungkook preferred her safety over his life. And one way or another, they were slowly killing their own son by taking Wine away from him. They accepted Wine too, and after an hour, the doctor stepped out of the ICU. Doctor, it was a rifle shot. They're bigger than the usual bullets, which caused him extra damage. But since he has been through this many times before, he was strong enough to overcome it. He might need an extra care and proper diet, but for now, he's out of danger. She fell down on the chair out of relief, and finally her heart started to beat properly. Doctor, you can meet him, but make sure he is not disturbed. The doctor left, and she looked up at his parents. How desperately she wanted to run to him. His mother came forward and put a hand on her shoulder. Jungkook's mother. It's okay. You can go see him. Wine. Thank you. Getting up, she rushed to his room. She wiped her tears and brushed her fingers through her hair. She quietly entered the room and was met by the sight of IV tubes attached to his body, and it was already painful to see. He was a hell of a man to be awake already, and she wondered how many times he has taken a shot before. Going to his side, she took a seat on stool and kissed his cheek, resting her head beside his on the pillow. One, you're going to have a hard time paying me back for every tear I shed. Jungkook, now that I'm awake, I'll make sure to do that personally. She smiled, eyes tearing up again, and started to cry out. Jungkook found it adorable how worried she was for him. It was her love for him, which his desire to protect her forever. One, our parents are outside and they agree to let us be together. There's no one coming in between us, Goop. Jungkook put a hand on her cheek and wiped her tears. Jungkook, no one can anymore. I'm never letting you go anywhere again. May the whole world be against it. You are mine. And this time, I'm going to own you. She nodded and kissed him, which he returned. She was extra careful of his wounds and stayed beside him taking care of them herself. She made him go through extra diet, which he usually tried to ignore, acting like a macho man. As soon as he healed, they decided to marry to not take any risk anymore. Jungkook swore to never let go of her again, and she felt the happiest in his protection.